All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as we talk about the guy who has absolutely been the surprise of OTAs, Austin Pleasance. But first, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Get some brisket. Get some brisket chili. Tell them that Krug sent you. We're also brought to you by Mancini Sleep World. Quick shout out to Mancini's. Their huge Memorial Day sale is now live through June the 9th, and you can save up to $1,200 on select adjustable mattress sets. Plus, they're throwing in an extra 10% if you're a Krug Show fan. All you got to do is type in Krug10 at the checkout at any of Mancini's locations or online at sleepworld.com. Once again, Krug10, Krug 10 at checkout. You'll save an additional 10%. If you've been thinking about upgrading your bed, now is the time. Just make sure you jump on it before June the 9th. All right. Welcome to our video on the 49ers. And the guy I want to talk about is the guy that I just think has just wowed me the other day at practice. And that is Austen Pleasance. And it's crazy because this guy is seriousness, a journeyman NFL player. But he's 6'7". He's 330 pounds. He originally entered the NFL after signing with Jacksonville as an undrafted free agent back in April of 2020. And he's had a 5-year NFL career. He spent time on practice squads with Jacksonville in 2020, with Carolina. He was with the Panthers 2021, 2022. He was with the Chargers then for a couple years, 2022, 2023, 2024 seasons. The Bears had him as well. A couple stints with the Bears in 23 and 24. The Cardinals had him for a couple of stints in those same years. He appeared in 2 games with the Panthers and Chargers, and then in 2024, he spent time on the Chargers, the Cardinals, and the Bears practice squads prior to being released from Chicago's practice squad on December the 3rd, and along came the 49ers, and on December 17th of 2024, the Niners signed Austen Pleasance to their practice squad. He was promoted to the active roster on December 21st and actually wound up playing late in the year. So they weren't sure what they had. But, man, this guy showed up at OTAs, and he looks like a ton. And when I'm saying that, I mean he's a big guy, but he really is moving. 6'7", 330. Now, this guy's right in his super prime, right? He's 27. He's from a town called Ironton, Ohio, and went to Dawson Bryant High School in Coal Grove, Ohio, then played for Ohio in 2015 through 2019, was entered into the 2020 draft and didn't get drafted. So he's just been kind of, in that NFL, kind of middle ground, just trying to establish himself. And the 49ers brought him in. 6'6" and an eighth is what his pre-draft measurables were. 310 pounds, 33 and 3/8 inch arms, 10 and an eighth inch hands. So he's got big hands. But it's not that. It's how well he's moving. He looks fantastic. I mean, I watch practice, football practice now pretty much for a living, okay? I watch football practice. I know what I'm watching. And, I mean, this guy was working out next to Nicholas Petit-Frere, and I don't think that I've ever seen a player look worse than Nicholas Petit-Frere. I hate to say that. And the Niners subsequently cut him. But right next to Nicholas Petit-Frere, barely being able to move and get out of his stance, was Austen Pleasance, who just looks bigger, stronger, more explosive, more powerful, and a whole lot faster than I ever remember him. He was moving. I mean, really moving. He appeared in 3 games for the Niners last year. He saw action on 67 total offensive snaps in the process. I'm just telling you, watch for this guy. Watch for this guy. Really, really special. And when I mentioned to Chris Forster that he looked special, Forster was not like, no, you're wrong. He's like, yeah, you're right. It's an amazing thing. They signed this kid. They thought he had some talent. But, man, he went to work in the offseason. I'm so eager to interview Austen. I talked to him. We're going to let you hear my conversation with him in just a second. But I talked to him early in the year, like the first day he got there. just a little bit about who are you, where are you from, what are you thinking, so on and so forth. And we put that up on the Krug Show YouTube channel. We'll let you listen to that right here. But I'm eager to hear from next time I talk to him this summer what exactly he did, because he looks bigger, more explosive. He looks healthy, but he was moving at a speed that I don't know that I've ever seen an offensive tackle move at since I've been watching the 49ers. This guy is, if this guy plays anywhere as good as he looks in these OTAs, the 49ers have something on their hands, and this guy's going to challenge Colton McKivitz for that starting right tackle job. And maybe you could see Pleasance at right tackle and McKivitz at left guard. McKivitz also looks pretty good, by the way, but Pleasance is just moving exceptionally well at 6'7", 330. It's something to watch. He's on a practice field next to Trent Williams, and he's moving at 6'7", 330. As well or better than Trent Williams, which is just incredible to say, because Trent Williams is going to the Hall of Fame. So Austen Pleasance is not going to the Hall of Fame, but he may be going to the Hall of 2025 because he looks like a guy who's going to contribute quite a bit. Here he is. We caught up with him on day one when he signed with the Niners, and he's a self-proclaimed nerd. Listen to this little conversation. Austen Pleasance inside the Niner locker room last December. All right, we're here in the Niner locker room with the newest 49er, Austen Pleasance. And Austen, what's it like day one here in with your new team? What's going through your mind today?
Well, it's been great so far. A lot of the guys have been a really big help, just helping me, find my way around the building and whatnot. I'm excited to get to work. I'm excited for an opportunity. At the end of the day, that's really all I want is an opportunity to be out on the field and doing what I love. So
you're an Ohio kid, right? Yes, Grew up Browns fan?
Bengals fan, yeah.
Bengals fan. And tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up? What kinds of things are you into?
I grew up in Southeast Ohio. Pretty simple, upbringing. Grew up with my mom, my younger brother, and just played football, sports growing up. I'm a huge nerd, honestly. I love Marvel, Star Wars. Mm-hmm. I love Lego. I've been building.
Nice.
I love spending time with my family. I have a wife and a son, a 1-year-old.
Nice.
So I'm missing them a lot right now.
Where are they based?
They're in Ohio.
In Ohio.
Yeah. So we live in my hometown. So,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And you got some family support back there.
Of course. Yeah.
Everybody wants to gather around the baby, I'm sure. Huh?
Yeah, of course.
So what? I get 4 kids. Going from 0 to 1 is the hardest. Just say that because yesterday you're in the club and now you're sitting there rocking the baby to sleep. Going from 2 to 3 is hell too, because they outnumber you and you got to play zone defense. How has having a kid changed your pro career? I mean, as far as does it seem different to you mentally now that you have a little guy?
Yeah, everything changes.
Yeah.
It's no longer about me.
Right.
It's about us. It's about him, and making sure that I'm the best example that he has of, what it is to be a man, what he wants to look up to be, and that's really I live every day with that in mind. So
odds are you're not going to be playing when he's old enough to really go.
No,
and watch.
absolutely not. No.
So what would you like him to know about your career? I mean, if let's just say we're cutting this is going to be on YouTube. Yeah. He's going to grow up one day. He's going to search your name. He's going to see this interview on YouTube. What would you like him to know about what you did as a pro?
That I left it all out there on the field. That every day, every rep, I gave it everything I got, and that's enough.
Yeah.
So.
Chris Forster is considered to be one of the great O-line teachers. Mm-hmm. Have you had any dialogue with Chris yet?
I was in meetings this morning. We were going over game plan stuff. I haven't had a one-on-one with him yet, but I'm looking forward to working with him and working with the rest of the guys in the room.
Were you an O-lineman all the way through, or were you a lot of times the best O-linemen are at the pro level, or guys who were D-linemen earlier? Were you a defensive lineman?
Oh yeah, I played on both sides of the ball in high school.
Yeah. What did you take as a D-lineman that you carry over to the offensive line?
aggressiveness and athleticism, I feel like, were the two biggest things that set me apart in high school. So
you potentially could be playing with Trent Williams, who's going to camp. He's going to be one of the greatest offensive linemen of all time.
Yeah.
Did you think about that when you signed the contract?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
And what would you like? I mean, you're watching this guy at practice. What would you like to? Would you like to be able to take away some things or have some dialogue with him about playing offensive tackle?
Yeah, of course. I mean, to learn from one of the best to ever do it. I mean, that's going to be amazing. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I don't think people realize how difficult it is to stick in the NFL. You got to go from practice squad to practice squad and opportunities. And you've moved around from some teams to a number of different teams. How difficult is that to learn all the new verbiage and all that?
Yeah.
Or is it not that different from team to team?
I've had this conversation a few times with people is, the base concepts, a lot of teams run the same things. Like you said, the verbiage is different. So it's kind of like learning a new language, but you also have that base of knowledge. Once you've been in the league around a few teams, the concepts, the plays don't change that much. So there's just little nuances that you have to learn each place. The guys in the locker room, they help out. As much as they can. So
guard, tackle, right, left. Where are you most comfortable? I know you play.
I can play all four. Yeah, and I feel confident in all four positions.
Really?
So, yeah.
Is it what would you say is your ideal spot? Was it right tackle, right guard? Is it on the right side, the left side? Where do you feel most? Where have you most experience?
I'm most comfortable is probably right tackle.
Right tackle.
Yeah.
Is there a big difference in the NFL between playing the right side or the left side? Because there's great rushers either way, right?
There's great players everywhere on the field. So, no, for me, I feel like I've done enough on both sides that it feels pretty comfortable either way.
You ever spend any time out on the West Coast?
Whenever I was with the Chargers, I spent some time out here. Yeah.
What do you think of California? What do you think of our December weather?
It's nice. Yeah. I understand the appeal. For sure. Yeah.
Now the real estate costs now start to make sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Last one. What would you? Obviously you'd love to stick here, and what would you? How do you see yourself fitting in on this line?
I'd love to stick here, and any opportunity to play, I'm gonna make the most of it, or at least try to, and I'm really looking forward to just being out on the field and getting to play.
Awesome, man. And is there a big difference between the speed of the game in the MAC, let's say in college, compared to the NFL, or what is the big difference?
It's night and day. Everybody's faster, stronger, in the MAC, I felt like I was one of the strongest, fastest guys out there.
Right.
And that's not the case here. So it takes some time to get acclimated to. So.
It's an adjustment.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, hey man, welcome to the Bay. Niner fans always love to get to know their 49ers, and thanks for a few minutes.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
All right, there you go. You get a little taste of Austen Pleasance. Humble guy, good dude. And I'm telling you, I interviewed him then. I didn't think he was going to be a significant player. I didn't even think he would necessarily be on the team this year. And this guy has got to be considered the leader in the clubhouse for that swing tackle job at the very least. Spencer Burford, Andre Dillard, and Austen Pleasance are going to battle for that swing tackle job. And it's a pretty good competition. It's like, a lot of people want to bash the Niners for the way they tackled the offseason as far as the offensive line because they didn't draft anybody before Connor Colby. But now looking back at this offseason, Connor Colby, late rounds, could be a factor. Drew Moss, undrafted free agent, could be a factor. They picked up Andre Dillard, who I think kind of resuscitated his career a little bit in Green Bay. I think he's a player who's very athletic and has a lot of upside. And then you found Austen Pleasance, and whatever, somebody lit a fire under Austen Pleasance, and he is in incredible shape and moving incredibly well. So, you may be covered. They may not be as naked. The 49ers, believe it or not, I mean, you're going to hear this as we get ready for training camp. People that are talking about the NFL, they go, the 49ers, and it's of the offensive line. The 49ers like their offensive line. I'll say this. I like their offensive line depth. I did a stream the other day with Dieter. Dieter's, I said, make a bold prediction. His bold prediction is Niners offensive line winds up being a top 5 NFL offensive line. Now, wouldn't that be something? But, they're looking pretty solid as far as, Trent Williams and Colton McKivitz. And now you also have Austin Pleasance, who looks really good, and Andre Dillard. And you've moved Spencer Burford to tackle. So, it's not like the cupboard's totally bare. And then inside with guys like Drew Moss and Connor Colby, in addition to the guys that they already have, I think Ben Barch probably gets the start at left guard, but you've got Drake Nugent, you've got Nick Sakel, you've got other guys there. The Niner depth on that offensive line, it looks like quality depth. We'll just say that. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. We appreciate all the good people at Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to Mancini's for sponsoring this video. And make sure you head into Mancini's. Use that code KRUG10, K-R-U-E-G 10, at the checkout to save an additional 10% at any of Mancini's locations or online at sleepworld.com. And thanks to all of you guys for making the Krug Show what it is today, which is approaching 60,000 subs and millions and millions of views per month. So we do appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thanks to all of you, and thanks for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.